Had a little, I don't know what you want to call it, self-reflection, whatever.
Okay.
So yesterday
Yep.
afternoon, my wife and
Yeah.
daughter went to my nephew's basketball game. It was whatever, doesn't matter.
Okay.
It was the same time. They left at the beginning of the Bengals game,
Hmm.
and they got home with like 10 seconds left on the clock. And we parked both of our cars in the garage,
How
which
old
means my
is
kid,
this nephew? How old is this person?
9, same age as my daughter.
I
So
see.
they
Okay.
just went and watched the game, went and had dinner with my sister-in-law, whatever. They get
Okay.
home. Kid has to get out of the car before my wife pulls in because there's not enough room in the garage. She walks in, she comes over and goes, "Daddy, did the Bengals win?" And I went, "Yes, they did." And then she walks over to the garage and goes, "Dad will be in a good mood."
Wow. Wow. I
Yep.
My position on sports has evolved over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And and by evolved I mean I kind of just don't give a crap anymore. Like I there were years where we like tailgated at Gillette Stadium like 4 or 5 times a
Mm-hmm.
season, you know. Um and I don't know. Like I was, we to watch the World Series after we got home from Mexico, we had I think I might have talked about this, but we had to sign up for some service,
Mm-hmm.
and then we canceled it. And then I said to my wife, I said, we're having everyone over on Thanksgiving. Like people are gonna expect to watch football on Thanksgiving. Like we need to figure this out, you know. And I think my brother-in-law is just gonna bring over his Fire Stick and let's do it that way. But
That works.
we just don't really care anymore, you know. And I just about anything really. I mean, frankly, all of life. I'm ready to put the white sneakers on and go up to the spaceship. You know, like over the weekend,
What?
we were with my brother-in-law and my sister, and it was Saturday. So like they're just talking about college sports the whole time. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I'm
Well, see,
like,
Paul, the
man,
difference is, especially on the professional side, my
yeah,
entire existence has been with teams that are not good.
yeah.
And
Well,
all of
I
a
mean,
sudden, I have a team that, on paper,
yeah.
should be pretty decent.
No, I get it, but
No.
that's not really what it is, right? I mean, if we had this conversation 5 years ago, you
Mm-hmm.
would have acknowledged the pointlessness of it, but you would still be as involved. Like you're still watching the games and you still
Yep.
care, you know. Yeah, I know. There's nothing. This is one of those areas that just kind of falls into. Well, first of all, it's something I used to do, used to care about a lot. I played basketball. I mean, up
Mm-hmm.
until we moved. I mean, until I was like 50 years old. I mean, I played sports my entire life. You know, and I don't know what it is. I get it. Like I sort of get it. I get it more with professional sports than I get with college sports.
Sure.
At least there's a kind of a tradition, although this is changing in pro sports. But this sense, like the teams I followed, it would be the same basic group of players over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Although more recently not so true. But college sports, the best players leave.
Yeah.
And they're never going to be there more than a few years anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you know about Arrow, though? Curious.
I know a lot about Arrow. Well, I don't want to get so, because you're in our industry and you've heard this phrase, it just works. This is just blotted out like some nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
In my experience, that is almost never the case. This is always the dream. And I sort of say things like technology has never failed me sarcastically because technology always fails me. And what is today? Monday. I mean, I've only had this thing in the house for like 3 days. I don't want to get excited about it, but and it just works. And the thing is, like, there are specific. I sort of you do this thing where like you finally make an upgrade like this, and then you're like, why did I wait on this? Why did I wait so long? It's very possible that some of the reliability issues I experienced over the years with RCN here were in fact the Google thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just to put it to something concrete, like for example, one of the things I do is I go upstairs and I work on the book on the bed, and it's hard to do it up there. The signal's not great. So from the bedroom, just doing something like the book is now probably 140, maybe 150 megabytes, something, almost it's 450 pages long, whatever. It has gotten to the point where it was so slow to download the book when I was previewing it. I started doing subset previews so I could just look at one chapter at a time because it was just it took so long just to download it, And when I do that now up there, it's like done, like it just appears. And I know it's just that's one little data point, but I mean, like that alone has been kind of incredible. I worked on the book a lot this weekend, so that was kind of a big deal. Day to day, obviously, it's just normal. It's fine. Everything works. I mean, I think that's the coolest part. So Sonos, Sonos, pain in the ass. But actually, that kind of got up and running. I didn't have it on Sonos Net initially, and then all I did was unplug the boost and re-plug it in, and now it's on Sonos Net. So that works fine. It's possible it would have worked fine without it,
Yeah.
It's a new network. But the only thing that, the Hue lights came right up. Everything pretty much worked. A lot of our devices went over to this network automatically because I've already used this network name elsewhere. So a lot of them just worked, The speeds are incredible. We're paying for 400 over 40. I keep getting 550, 560 on download over Wi-Fi,
Wow.
Depending on the device. Some of my devices are 6E, like the one I'm on now. I've checked it all around the house. The range is incredible, and this is a big house. I had to buy an extra node for the other one. I'm not going to have to do that now. That's great. The wired stuff. Actually, the thing you'll appreciate most is I took away the wire from here because the wire is actually slower. I had 2 switches on the chain, which is stupid, but that's just the way I had to do it. But I had they should be like gigabit switches, if that makes sense. But it's possible the wires were not great or whatever. But the wireless speeds are much faster than wireless speeds are much faster than wired, at least in my office. So I'm like, whatever, I don't need that. The NAS is wired. That came right up. The Sonos Beam is wired. That came right up. I don't know. It seems great. Oh, Busy freezes. It just froze there. So except for this podcast, it's been great. That's going to be the real trick, right? Is the podcast. So, yeah, so far so good. I don't get to say that a lot.
No, I was just thinking that too.
Yeah, I know. I'm suspicious. I have too many years of experience. But yeah, so far so good.
Which is going to be interesting for this week because this week it contains the bird holiday on Thursday, which means there's not going to be a lot to talk about this week. I don't think. Can't imagine Microsoft or anybody's going to drop any news except, unless you're Disney, who last night reinstated Bob Iger, which
we should do that with Steve Ballmer. Just drop that bomb. Developers.
So here's the theoretical question of the day, Paul.
Yeah.
Which scenario contains more dump trucks? Disney with Bob Iger or Intel with Pat?
Oh. Do you mean physical dump trucks or metaphysical?
Metaphysical dump trucks full of money.
Oh.
Can you imagine them calling up Bob, we need you back? He's like, I'm in retirement.
So I don't know enough about that. What happened at Disney? What was the issue there? I thought Disney was doing great.
Yeah.
No?
They've kind of been spiraling ever since Bob left. Now, there's some theories out there that Bob left, Iger, I should say, because they were both named Bob, at the perfect time, right? The pandemic was coming to an end, and he just kind of walked away at the right time, and then he set this thing up to fail, but regardless, doesn't really matter. That's what it's kind of, they were cutting things and quality was going down the drain and they were losing money. And, because they just signed the other guy's contract too. So,
yeah, I guess, I'm not a big Disney fan, or, like park wise. But I guess the prices there are astronomical. I used to always use Disney as this example because people, when my kids were younger, we'd go to Europe every summer on these home swap things. And people would be like, what are you doing? Like, what are you taking the kids to Europe? Like, what are you doing? And my argument was always, we spent less than 3 weeks in Europe every summer than those people would have spent a week at Disney World, And I feel like that gap has grown.
Yeah.
This is an incredibly expensive experience. And increasingly, it's one that, for some reason, is undertaken by adults without kids, Which, honestly, I think if you were an adult with kids, you'd kind of want to see geeky, overweight American adults like wearing Disney, Mickey Mouse ears and stuff because for some reason they never grew up. I don't know.
Remember when we fed the ducks on the back of a Surface?
Yes. Was that Disney or was it?
No, it was Disney.
Yeah, maybe I get the adult thing.